The successful people, they're the ones that will figure out like how to solve that problem and take that risk, the risk basically. And that's where we're at today. We're just figuring out deals that look awesome on paper, but let's figure out the risk part of it all.
This is Henry Washington, and you're listening to the Average Joe Finances Podcast.
If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you smash the like and subscribe buttons. If you're listening to our podcast, go leave us a 5-star review. All of our links can be found in the video description or show notes below. Hey, welcome back to the Average Joe Finances Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Cavaggioni, and today's guest is Indar Lange. So Indar, I am super excited to talk with you today. Glad that I got to meet you the other day and excited to be coming out to your event this afternoon. So thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Yes, thank you. Funny, we got our event here at 1, we're doing our podcast, and then we're doing our event at 4. So we're going to be hanging out a lot here through the day. And we just hung out the other night, which was great. Hanging out the other night too.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm actually, once this finishes up, I'm going to make sure it's all good to go. And then I got to get in the car and start heading to Waikiki. But yeah, I'm excited about it, man. It's going to be a good time. First off, I want to start this off with the same way I start every podcast episode off. And we want to know more about you. So if you could, you can go as far into detail as you want or share as little as you want. But can you share with us your background, your story? Who is Indar Lange?
Yeah, I spit this story out all the time, actually. Now,
Please don't spit on
yeah, born and here in Hawaii, born and raised local boy, born in on a pot farm in Hilo. Actually, my parents grew pot for a living. So interesting way to grow up, of course. Water catchment generator, 17-acre pot farm.
Is that why you're so laid back?
Yeah, maybe it was embedded into my system. No, but we later on sold the farm and moved away from all of that. But I grew up in Kona, grew up on the Big Island, loved it, great, awesome. Got in some trouble, but later on figured that out in life, and I got an engineering degree and also a business degree as well, bachelor's of science, I was going to say. So I got electrical engineering degree and a business degree, which is great. And college is, I don't know, I have different opinions about college, but we can get into that if you want. It's a great tool if you have no place else to go.
That's fair.
Yeah. So I did that for a while, which is great. Engineering is great. Knew I wanted more in life. Always knew I had a drive to want more, want to be more, be a millionaire, and so forth. Though later on, got a contractor's license. Started working for my dad's company. Worked for construction for years in the construction world. I love working construction till this day. I'm very handy. Love tools. And in 2013, my wife drugged me to one of those programs, one of those fix and flip programs, and it turned my world around. I was kicking and screaming, didn't want to go to the program, didn't want to be there, and it was stupid. I'm not going to spend any money. And we went to the program and went to the next group and went to the next session and signed up, and I spent $35,000 and best $35,000 ever spent. I always been a big advocate for education and growing and learning, and I love just keep growing myself. So did sign up for one of those flipping programs, and it helped me at the very beginning as well. At that same time, I did buy my own house, and that's where we can talk about how to start in this deal later on, how to start in this business. Bought my own house, lived in it, DIY'd it, sold it, made 90 grand, and that kind of gave me money to start. That was 2013 as well. And then we took off. We did our first wholesale deal, bought it on Craigslist, sold it on Craigslist, some land in Hilo, 25 grand, so over 35 grand, 2 acres in Hilo. Then we did a first flip, and our first flip was a doozy, 700,000. We sold at about $1 million something, $1,220,000, I think. Super scared, didn't know what I was doing. That was 2014, 15. I think we sold it, something like that. Did a couple next year, a few more the following year, kept rolling. And now we've done about 120 fix and flips, about 130 million in bought and sold in fix and flips. Some big numbers in Hawaii. It's just price point of Hawaii. We're carrying about 18 flips now at a time. We carry about 18. We handle about 15. So I like to be, that's my sweet spot. 15 to 20 is my sweet spot, I should say. So we have 18 going right now in Hawaii, about 30 million, and then another 7 across the US we have as well going. We also have a wholesaling company where we wholesale nationwide, but really in the key states. But we do all nationwide. We have a wholesaling company. We tried wholetailing, but they turned into wholesaling. It's a combination of both. So we do that across the US. And then I have a huge rental portfolio of 156 rentals, 156 doors. We have a multifamily, a few multifamilies, single families that is comprised of a bunch of Airbnbs as well, and Turo here in Hawaii that we attach to our Airbnbs, and it's great. And we have several other companies as well, some affiliate stuff and several other companies, and we're building out a co-working space right now and excited about that business, and I have a few other businesses that I run as well. But love fix and flipping. That's my bread and butter. I'm the largest fix and flipper here in the state, and I've been doing it for a while. I love it. And I love to do high-end stuff. I do some stupid $2-3 million stuff that's just crazy. Some of the numbers, I can't even believe it myself, as well as some small $200,000 stuff. But the name of the game is somebody's going to do the deal and somebody's going to figure it out. So yeah, that's the gist of it all.
All right, man. Yeah, that's quite an opening background there. But like you said, you know, someone's going to do the deal. So might as well be you. Might as well get out there and make it happen. So let me get this right, Indar. So in 2013, your wife had to drag you out to one of these flipping events. You went kicking and screaming, didn't even want to go. And by the end of that, you were in the back signing up for the very next thing. So what was it that you heard during that seminar that kind of flipped the trigger in your brain and said, you know what, I want to know more and I want to do this?
That's funny. I didn't really dive into it more, but the backstory behind all of that was before that, I paddle. I love paddling. I've been paddling canoe here in Hawaii for years. I love it. And I started becoming a member at Outrigger Canoe Club. It's a high-end country club, very prestigious. And all these people, they're millionaires. They're very successful people. And either they became successful because of real estate, or they were successful and have real estate in their portfolio. And I started seeing that was a commonality of real estate needed to be in my life just somehow. And at that time, I was deciding what avenue I want to be in real estate. Do I want to be an agent? Do I want to fix and flip? I was dabbling and researching and so forth. And yeah, one of that seminar came up, and actually was the first day was free for 2 hours. And then they had a $200 for another day, I think. And then the weekend is where they got me. It was a 3-day weekend, and then they got me to sign up. They're a great pitch. I don't know what it was. I just knew that I didn't know enough, and I needed to have somebody show me the ropes, kind of thing. And I could figure it out myself maybe, but that was a long path, a lot of YouTube videos and so forth. I wanted a quick path to it all. And that's what I believe education is a quick path to figuring things out.
Yeah. So you knew this was the route you wanted to go, and you're like, what's the fastest way to get there?
Yeah.
So you wanted to paddle with the current, not against the current. I'll use some of your paddling experience there for that. Yeah, that's interesting. So you're out at this club, right? And you're seeing the commonality there of most of the folks there that are part of this club are investing in real estate. And that's one of the things that's helping them keep their wealth and build their wealth, right? So you said, okay, this is a tool that I want to use as well. Now, so after all that's said and done, you do the whole weekend thing. What was it like after getting that education? How did you go from saying, okay, I know what I need to know now. Now it's time to take action. What did that look like?
Just back between, there's 3 things I'd like to talk about with education and doing. So we can all read books and we can watch videos. And I think that's one great facet. The second part of it all is to start doing and implementing. And then the last part of it all is the action. So I always break it into 3 things. Yes, we can all read books and so forth, but then you have to start doing. And then the third part of it all is taking that massive action. And that's what separates, I think, the Brandon Turner to all the different levels of people's. Brandon just takes a lot more massive action than I do. And I take a lot more action, massive action than some of the other people and so forth. And that's all what it breaks down to, is how much action you're going to take. Because this game of real estate, this whole process, it's pretty understandable. It's pretty straightforward. It's not, I don't want to say rocket science. There's moments, of course, but in general, it's very understandable. It's just taking that action to get things done. And that's actually one of my talents, I should say, is the second I have something to do, I just do it. I just do it. I don't like think. I don't think about it and like trying to figure it out and procrastinate. I just do it, and then if it works, whatever may have been done. Like I literally be in a conversation with somebody, and I'll just get that thing I need to do right away done, because otherwise it goes tomorrow and I forget about it and it's something else and so forth. But yeah, the education program put me around like-minded people. They shared like kind of step by step. Like again, real estate is already very understandable, but it was just nice to have somebody lay out the actual step by step process of it all. Start a company, get your goals set, and just a step by step of it all. It was nice for me to have that laid out, which is actually we're going to be starting an education program here shortly, and I just wanted to lay it out for people step by step. And again, at the beginning when I started, there was no one in Hawaii scaling this. There was no one in Hawaii that I could look up to. I had to look up to a mainland people, and they're great and all, but they didn't understand Hawaii. And Hawaii, it's got its own struggles for sure. It's hard to scale Hawaii. When I started, no one was scaling in Hawaii. And again, somebody's going to do it. Might as well be me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. It is a different world over here. The real estate market is so much different than back on the mainland. After living most of my entire life on the mainland and now being here for the past 4.5 years, it's one of the things I realize is it is such a different beast here. And one of the things that I found for me is that I had like huge limiting beliefs about being able to do real estate in Hawaii. Like I was like, oh, it's too expensive to do flips. I don't know how anybody does this. And then I met people that are doing it, and I'm like, okay, they're doing it. So it's possible. So that's one of the things I think a lot of people struggle with out here, at least, is that limiting belief of, I don't know if I can do it. Right. And you had mentioned something else too, that when you get something that catches your eye, that catches your interest, you just move on it right away and take that massive action. I find myself often saying, I know I need to do A, B, C, or D. I will get to that when I can. And then that procrastination winds up biting me in the butt because I miss out on something, or I just didn't take action fast enough. That's fantastic that you've got that mentality to just go. I'm still working on that. I still have that problem. I still have to
Yeah, I
like
think
figure
we
out how
all
to
do.
just go out there and
We
make it happen. But
we all
yeah,
do
man.
to extent on certain things. I think we all have that same problem.
Yeah.
It's just that little bit extra doing it when you need to do it.
Okay, so you got the education piece, right? You got to take this massive action. What's that other piece that you were talking about? You said that there's 3 different things, I think you said,
Yeah.
that are like your go-to. This is how I do things.
Yeah, once you read it in a book and so forth, or watch a video on whatever you need to do, is to just start doing it, implementing it, send out an email or set up whatever you need to do, or even set a reminder, whatever. And then of course, lastly, is just start really taking that action of whatever that process of it all is, to taking that time. And it's hard is because we have our normal lives, we have our normal process, we have our normal setup of things. So when you have to do something new or different, it's sometimes very hard. You read it, we talked about the other by Attraction, a great book we were just talking about, and the EOS system, and reading it, knowing it's great, I need to do that, but then taking that time to actually set it up and do it and get it going, because like you in your head, it's like, yes, I have to do this. This is great. This is great. This is awesome. I'm reading it. And then you put the book down. You're like, oh, I better watch some TV. Like it's that steps to after. It's the hardest
Well,
part
and
of
life happens, right? You finish reading and you're like, okay, I know I got to do A, B, C, or D. Oh, but I need to go shopping because my wife asked me to go pick this up, or
yeah,
the kids need A, B, C, or D, or they got something going on with school and they need help with the project. So yeah, life can get in the way. A lot of times, at least for me, I try to prioritize my family when those opportunities present itself, because after 20 years in the Navy and spending so much time away from them, when they say they need something, I'm like, okay, let's take care of it. And I put other things on the back burner, and it's a give and take
it's hard
thing,
yes,
right? So that's the part that gets difficult. But if you could find that happy medium in between of how to make it work out, that's where you're going to find that success. And I've found it in some places, and in other places I still need to figure it out. But that's part of the game, right? Is learning and figuring all this stuff out. But I'm glad to see the stuff that you're doing. It makes me hopeful that there's so many different possibilities of things that you can do out here, but you're also investing back on the mainland as well. Right. So you're not just doing it here. You've expanded as you scaled, right? You're like, okay, I'm not just going to invest in just my backyard. I want to look in other markets where these numbers make more sense, where things might be a little bit easier to obtain and make these flips happen. So besides what you've done out here in Hawaii, what kind of markets are you looking at back on the mainland?
It all stems from when I started flipping. And I was just trying to find a condo. That's what I wanted to find at the beginning. I just wanted a condo flip because it was easy. Condos are easy to understand, not much. There's no roof, no landscaping. Pulling comps are very easy. You're just looking at the building. So your comps, I was always just trying to find a condo deal when I first started. And that didn't happen. I found a deal elsewhere. And I feel like that's been the story of my life. Like every time I'm focused on even one marketing campaign, I'm trying to find a deal here, a deal comes up elsewhere. And again, my thinking is, and I have a mentor that basically told me this when I did a Macaw deal 2015 or something like that, when it was real risky to do deals out on the west side. It was agents were like, really, you want to buy something out there? And I was like, yeah. And I had a mentor, a millionaire friend of mine, and we were going to either you don't do the deal and you make zero, or you do the deal and you make $40,000. I was like, oh, I like $40,000. And
That's a lot better than zero.
yeah.
Take that.
Yeah. I actually ended up making 60.
There you go.
And I had a lot of naysayers when I first started, and I started recognizing who was naysaying. It was people who had less than me or who didn't have a lot. And those generally are the naysayers of any time I notice in life. The successful people, they're the ones that will figure out like how to solve that problem and take that risk, the risk basically. And that's where we're at today. We're just figuring out deals that look awesome on paper, but let's figure out the risk part of it all. It's hard to come up. Like we're buying a shopping center right now, and my hardest part of it is I'm doing a huge raise, $1.5 million raise, which is big for me. And let's see if we can figure out that problem. It's a great deal. Everything's amazing on paper. Just a lot of money to raise. Or flipping in a different state. How do you figure that out? And that involves you thinking you can't do it because you're not there. But honestly, I don't even have to be at my flips here in Hawaii. So why did I have to be in the mainland states? And really, it's just having a good team. We depend on a realtor up there in the States, where our realtor is a savvy investor person. We're paying them a project management fee. They're really our eyes and ears and boots on the ground, as we have here in Hawaii, is a project manager basically. So it's the same process up there for the flips. And then for buy and hold, your property management is your ultimately your eyes and ears and everything, where we have some big portfolios and we manage our management. So we have Zooms every week with our property management. So the goal, I think, of a property management is not necessarily to manage the property, like fix and flip things or the work to be done. The goal is to manage revenue. It's to look at the income statements, profit and losses. So I am hounding them on the revenue and the expenses. And that's what we go over in our meetings of what's the income of this property, because it's a win for everyone. If we can generate more income, that means the property management makes more. If we lose more expenses, it's a win for everyone. So my conversations with property management is towards managing the revenue of the property, not necessarily fixing things. Obviously, yeah, you should be fixing the broken sink or whatever, but it's to manage the revenue. I know I got a little tangent there.
No, that's fine. So that's a very important piece, though, that I feel like a lot of people focus on the other things and not so much the bookkeeping and making sure that the rent is being paid on time, that it's being paid at the market rate, or if you're building it up, that it's being raised properly each time a new lease is signed. So those are the little things that will actually come back and bite you or increase your cash flow tremendously if you're paying attention to that, right? More cash flow means you could solve more of those other problems that come up, right? Because you have more cash now to fix that stuff. But there's something that you said too, and I just said it just now, and I wrote this down as you were talking, but you said as you were going through this, your main thing was like you were figuring out problems. And I feel like a lot of people in this space, that is like the main job that you have as a real estate investor, is you're a problem solver. For the folks that you reach out to on the flips that you do and wholesaling and all that, you're helping that individual with a problem, helping them solve a problem that they have. And then you're able to turn that and help another investor or anything else. So if somebody's coming to you and they say, hey, I'm trying to buy a buy and hold property in this area, and you're able to wholesale it to them, now you're solving their problem. So there's a lot of problem solving going on in there. Would you agree with that statement?
Oh, yeah, I'm just laughing at it because it's actually our company model. We have it on our wall here. It's to figure it out. So it's not just me, but everyone that works with us, it's their job is to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, even some of the simplest tasks, people can figure it out. It's not, if you took the time, and you can Google anything nowadays, right? And took the time and figure it out, you can. If the best way I describe it, when we look at again, I looked at a deal in the mainland, and we were looking at this Texas deal, and we were going to make 100 grand. And I told my acquisition guy, hey, if I pay you 100 grand, would you figure this out? I'm like, yeah, I would figure it out for 100. So I look at it that way. Shit, I would figure it out if I'm going to make that much money. And that's how you look at it is, shoot, I can make a lot of money on this. Somebody's going to figure it out. And I've done some really hard flips in the beginning, and I took it upon myself to look for the really hard ones, like getting underneath houses and jacking them up and changing 9 support beams and really going after some of the worst projects. Again, somebody is going to figure that out, either you or somebody else. Pick one, take your time, and it is how you think of it as. And I took on the hardest flips, and now everything's cake. After doing some of those hard ones, now it's like, I jacked up and lifted up a house and moved it over. Come on, I can fix some support issues real easy.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
figuring
It's
it
like
out,
what you said earlier, right? Besides the whole figure it out piece, it's someone's gonna get that deal. Might as well be me.
exactly.
So yeah, you've got some good zingers in there, Indar, like some like stuff that'll really stick in the back of your head. Hey, someone's gonna get the deal. Might as well be me. And you know what? We got to get it done. So I got to figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah, that's good
That-
stuff, man.
That's the name of the game in this business, is figuring out. And the problems are definitely huge figure outs. Like later on, they become very tough problems to figure out. And again, that's you just got to keep figuring out, move forward, figure out. And that's why people become successful in this business, is they're able to figure out. And I have many hats too. Like I have lots of hats in this business. So you got to be jack of all trades, master of none, or whatever it is.
And then figure out like when you need to start delegating and utilizing some of the stuff you learned in traction, right? But yeah, that's fantastic. Indar. Now, I want to ask you, because I have a good understanding of your why with real estate, like why you decided real estate was the right investment path for you. And it goes back to your paddling time, right? Now, I want to know, like, you've been doing this since 2013 now, coming up on 9-10 years of doing this.
Yeah.
What is it that kind of fuels that fire for you that makes you say, you know what, I want to keep doing this. I want to stay in real estate and not changing it up?
It's funny you're asking that, because I just had a deep conversation with my dad last night in the office about that. Hey, I could level out basically where I'm at now today and be comfortable. I'm a millionaire on paper, have a huge net worth of rentals, and I could just stop and be very fine where I'm at. But do I want to keep pushing? And my dad said, hey, my mentality, the person I am, is I'm always looking for that challenge and that push. And if I were to stop this, I would just go into something else and find it. So there would be never satisfied with just being level, whatever I'm doing. I always look for the push in life to be uncomfortable in a sense. And that's what I keep on pushing, is my comfort level, as I'm comfortable doing 18 plus flips at a time now. And we do 30 a year, maybe 20 to 30 a year. It's my comfort zone, but
Okay.
can I push that? We're actually going to push it to 90. I want to try and do 90 a year. I'm
There
going
you
to try
go.
and push.
Why not hit triple digits and do 100? So if I feel like you find comfort in being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
like you like the challenge, like it's
I
like,
do,
okay,
do.
like we got to make this happen. We got to figure it out and move forward. How are we going to do this? Let's make it happen. And I really like that. You're a go-getter when it comes to this stuff. It's not like I'm just going to, I got myself to the point where I feel like I'm good, I'm comfortable, I think I'm going to stop now. You're like, no, what's the next challenge? Because if you did stop, like, you would wind up getting into something else. And what would that be? Like, I feel like I'm the same way. My wife asked me that question too. She's like, when is enough like passive income enough for you to say you're done? Or what is it that, like, when is it going to stop? And I'm like, I think I'm going to go until the wheels fall off, because I enjoy, I also enjoy a challenge. I
Yeah.
love going out there and doing new things, making new things happen. I
Yeah.
was telling you Wednesday about the new business that I'm starting up right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I'm really
pop-up.
really excited about
Yeah.
that. We're going to make our official launch here soon. But it's like, for me, it was like building this thing up from the ground up and doing it by myself. And it was like, I was challenging myself, see if I could build something to this great scale. And we'll find out once it goes live. It's either going to do really well or it's going to flop, but either way, I'm going to learn something. I'm really excited about it. So that's one of the things I enjoy, having a conversation with like-minded people when it comes to stuff like that. That's why I'm super excited that we're going to get together this afternoon and talk some more with some other folks, some other like-minded folks. This is what it's all about. I think you and I have very similar pillars of what we call what's the right thing to build wealth. I call it the 4 pillars to wealth building. And for me, it's education, coaching, and mentorship. I think those, they go hand in hand, but they are different. networking and building relationships. And then number 4 is the most important one because it makes the other 3 not matter if you don't do number 4. Number 4 is take action. So
Yeah,
like this
massive
whole
action.
conversation as we're
Yeah.
talking, I'm like, oh man, yeah, this is
The
like
exact same we just talked about.
reaffirms like what I
Yeah,
try to
yeah,
explain to people. And when I coach like my financial coaching clients, it's like some of the same stuff I tell them, like, this is,
yeah.
you got to go in this order. Sure, you could take action right away, but guess what? That education is going to follow up right behind it because you're going to learn some lessons quick when you start making some mistakes. I think it's super important to get out there and learn your craft, what you want to do. Otherwise, you're going to learn the hard way.
I spent about $100,000 on education last year. I signed up for so many different programs and classes. I travel and hotels and everything costs as well. But I am a big believer, like you're talking about education and events and being a part of some high level groups now. Or my groups cost a lot more to be in and to be around those people. I am
because you've got to the point where you
believer.
take it to the next level. You started where you started at. Right now you're at another level and you're trying to unlock that next section, that next level, right? So you've got to change it up. You can't stay with the folks that have a net worth of $100,000 when you've gotten up into the 7-figure net worth. Keep moving. You got to, as you scale your business, you have to scale yourself and your network as well. So you don't get left behind.
Yeah, big time. And just being around those people to really rub off and you rub shoulders with them.
It does. Yeah. It's a common saying, but they always say that you're like the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most, right? If you're not a millionaire and you're hanging out with 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th one. No, it's just that their mentalities, their attitude, what they do, it rubs off on you.
I just came back from the Go Abundance, Bigger Pockets group, and I was with the high level group. We broke off and there was this high level group. And man, the conversations are just so deep. We're talking about scaling businesses and growing businesses and struggles that they're having with these people are huge multi-net millionaires. And I'm learning, we all have the same struggles in a sense. So I have value to add to them as they have value to add to me. And it's just cool to share. It's almost like I did this event once where I went to Vegas and I was a speaker in front of 5,000 people and a great event, a lot of people. And we snuck a 3-day event. We snuck off one day and we drove Ferraris for the day and Lamborghinis and whatever. And it was like 9 of us. And I learned more hanging out with those guys than sitting in the room with 5,000 people. Because hey, I was able to afford a Ferrari at the first place, and there it is, all friends. And from that day right there, I learned so much of this guy was doing that marketing, and it is his industry, and that was working for him. And he was struggling with that in his business, and he did that to help grow it. I gave value to them, and it's a snowball effect when you're around these high level people. I'm constantly trying to push my level up as well to always be around high level people, just like-minded people.
Yeah, I love that. Again, it's going to help you excel and scale yourself as well. Like I said before, you're not just scaling your business, you're scaling yourself, you're accelerating, and you got to put yourself around the contenders, right? To do that. It's funny. I compare this to like, I like to bowl. I'm on a bowling league and stuff, and I bowl competitively. Nice. And I always find that when there's somebody better than me, like bowling next to me or I'm going against them, I push harder, like so much harder to try to beat them than I do if I'm just out by myself and trying to play. So it's one of those things that like just, I like the challenge and it's the sport of it, right? It's not just the, oh, hey, you're doing really good at what you do. I want to be like you one day. Sure, yeah, you can say that all day, but it's like, no, I'm going to be like you one day. I'm going to make this happen. So what are the steps to do that? Yeah, I love that, man. So you've got the right attitude. You've got the right mentality. You've been doing this for a little while now. Absolutely out there crushing it. Indar, I want to ask you some questions now. It's called the final round. I want to transition this into that. There are 3 real hard-hitting questions that'll give us an idea of how you are under pressure or put in a tough situation, and then 1 opinion question after that. So if you're ready to go, we'll get that party started.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. First question, Indar, and this one's a doozy, but what would you say is the biggest mistake you've ever made in your real estate investing?
It's a funny question because I feel like my mistakes made 2 years ago were not as big as today. And today it's like the mistakes only get bigger and more intense and you just figure out and problem solve them. So there's always mistakes. There's always room to grow, but that's how I have to take that risk factor and understand mistakes will happen to help me grow. Early on, one of my second flip ever, I had a big loss and I could have took that as a quit this whole thing, but I did a flip right after and made it up. So I recognize that mistakes are part of the business. I've now have it lost for a while and knock on wood, but I learned from my mistakes as well as use those as hurdles to know I can overcome this and everything will be all right kind of attitude now. I'm very relaxed. If you ever see me, I'm very like laid back, just local boy, chill.
I
And I
thought that
think
was from growing up on a pot farm.
yeah, I think I mitigate my risk now. I'm very conservative with everything I do, and my mistakes are looked at as I know I can figure this out and get around this problem and get past it and kind of enjoy the process sometimes. As much as I stress out during, it's still a nice thing to get through. So can't
Those
say one thing, but
those mistakes became part of that education process for you. Okay, so the next question kind of ties into that, and that is, what is something that you've learned that you wish you knew when you first started?
the fearfulness of when I had a big fear like everybody else, where's the money going to come from? Where am I going to get money from? And I didn't recognize that you need to find a deal first. I was too worried about the money, that the deal is more important than the money. And I think my education or my mentors at the time didn't stress that deal. They didn't really talk about how to find a deal, and a deal is important. And I wish I'd known that now, that the deal is more important in a sense. And I still have that mindset today, as now I'm looking at $10 million deals and somebody just sent me a $15 million deal. And now I'm like, oh shoot, how am I going to raise or find that much money? So I still have that same scarcity, like how am I going to figure this out? I got to come up with a couple $1 million in gap funds. So it's still there in your head, but still got to recognize if the deal's sweetheart enough that you can partner, you can bring people in and figure that money part out after the fact kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people face that challenge. I know I have in the past before.
Yeah.
Like when I first decided to get back into real estate investing, I was like, okay, I need to figure out where this down payment's going to come from instead of about finding the actual deal, where I don't even know what the down payment's going to be until I find the deal. So that's definitely huge. I appreciate that answer and the transparency there. All right, Indar, the next question I have for you, and again, this kind of ties into all of that, is do you have any tips or tricks that you would recommend to someone
Yes.
that is just getting started today?
Yes, I have a ton of ninja tips. Actually, I have them written down right here, and some events. I love sharing ninja tips because the ninja tips really are tricks things I've learned as I failed and got through it all. Zero offers equals zero deals. So oftentimes you'll be analyzing a deal and you'll be scared to put in an offer because you're way below, what they're asking, or you don't want to offend them. To me, if you spend time analyzing and looking at a deal, write that offer, say a verbal offer, have an agent write it up, whatever. For me, it's 21 offers equals a deal. So I'm just trying to get to 21. I'm not trying to get the offer accepted. I'm just trying to get to 21. So don't be scared to just write offers. And another coolest part about real estate in general is it's not like stocks where you buy a stock, you're all in. Like second you purchase it, you're in real estate. We have an inspection period. We have a chance to do some due diligence. We have a J1 inspection. So we can pull out the deal. We have an option to buy and an option to leave at that point. And we have that option period. That's a huge thing. If you're selling a house or if you're selling a flip, pay for a home inspection yourself as your final punch list. So if you're especially over $1 million house, this is really important. So I'll pay a home inspector to come in and do inspection of the house and give that punch list. It's like 80 pages, 100 pages, super crazy punch list. And I'll give that to my contractor. Here's your final punch list, because I'm not going to go climb in the attic. I'm not going to pull out the heat gun and moisture test the house. Like I'm just going to walk through it nonchalantly. He's going to put his hazmat suit on, climb in the attic and do all that kind of stuff. And the reason behind all this is when you're selling $1 million house plus, generally that guy buying that $1 million house is pretty savvy dude. There's a reason he's able to afford $1 million house. So any kind of mistake that they find, he's going to ask for a credit. He's going to ask for some kind of credit back to him. And if you took all that away from him, you're going to be pretty well off. They may find some crooked outlet cover kind of inspection that you may have missed, but if you caught all the big items, it'll save you hundreds of dollars, lots of dollars.
Yeah, it pays for itself.
Yeah, exactly. More than yourself.
Yeah,
like
more than
normally,
that, yeah.
more a credit's 10 grand or something crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it. I miss things often on a flip. We only fix the things that we see maybe an old part of the house that we didn't touch. We didn't go over there, and there's a problem over there. And so I'm guilty of it too. So that's either your time is valuable. And I was guilty of that myself, trying to run to Home Depot 5 times a day and try to save money by me. Cause I'm handy. I can install tile and I know some basics of a lot of different trades. I love doing the yards, for example. I've been out in the installing grass and all that. Is my time valued at 15, 20 bucks an hour to go lay grass? Or is my time valued at 500 bucks an hour is what I need to be valued at? So what is my time valued at? Me trying to save money by me doing it myself, is that the best use of my time, or should it be finding deals, finding money? That's what my time is valued at. And still today, I think of that. What is my time valued at? Is this the best use of my time? Driving to Home Depot and getting a screw for the contractor, is that best use of my time? Even though I think I'm saving money, which are, and you should honestly do a lot of that stuff up front on jobs. I'm not saying not to, but there's a point when you stop doing that and value your time, of course. And so there's some more. I can get some in depth if you want that.
No, that's great stuff, man. And that's probably one of the more important ones, is that understanding the value of your time. That's one of the things when I realized I needed to start outsourcing certain things, and the amount of time that the outsourcing saved me, I was able to complete tasks that made me more money, which was like the most important thing, because now it's like I'm increasing my value dollar per hour of what I cost, what I value myself at. So that's huge. Okay. That's it for the tough questions. Now, this is your opinion question. And I'm going to preface this with, besides your own, because I know you just started one, but do you have a favorite business, investing, or real estate related book or podcast, or both?
I listen to it all, guys. I have my phone with books on tape. I don't even listen to the radio anymore. I am just trying to fill my head as much as education as I can from books and podcasts. So I'm a big advocate, as much as you can. I listen to it in 1.5, so I'm trying to fly through a lot of it.
You can't listen to my podcast at 1.5. I'm from New York and I talk too fast.
I love, my new favorite book is The Goal. The Goal is a great book. It's an old school book. It talks about setting your goals. When whatever you're doing, have a goal. It's my number one book right now. And if you're trying to grow social media, what is your goal? Why are you trying to grow social media? And then backing it out, what's the bottleneck behind all of that? So figuring out the bottleneck. Great book. I'm loving this. There's a guy, Barry Schritz, I can't say his last name, Schritzner. He's a beast, and I've been listening to a lot of his talks all over. He birthed the Cosmopolitan Hotel. He owns Starwood. He owns all the Marriotts and all that, all the Marriott hotels. This guy is a beast. We see all these guys on social media. We think we're beast. These guys, I don't know, 100 billionaire, whatever his net worth is. I like to watch those guys and see what they're talking about. And I listen to their stuff, and they're billionaires. So I've been following him a lot. Barry Schweitzer, I can't think of it. And of course, podcast. I love your podcast. You actually have a really good following in your group. Brandon stuff that he'll be coming out with, Brandon Turner, of course, Bigger Pockets. Those guys are awesome. My podcast what's our podcast? The Hawaii Money Guy is our podcast. I listen to a bunch of others. I kind of jump around. I'm more of a books on tape kind of guy. Nice. Lately, I guess you can say. You go through those ebbs and flows of what you're interested in.
Yep. Yeah, no, I love that, because it's similar to what I don't listen to much music anymore. It's mostly stuff that's going to add value to my life. Not only like investing or real estate related podcasts and books, but stuff that's motivational and like life coaching and things like that, that kind of help me with my mindset. So I think that's awesome. Now, you did share your podcast, which I didn't want you to, but that's okay, because right now I'm going to ask you, Indar, where can people find more information about you? Do you have a website you could share with us, social media, a podcast maybe? Anything like that you could share with us?
Let's first say my social. So Indar, INDAR Hawaii. Indar Hawaii is all my social on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. What else? I think we got Be Real going, trying everything. And I like to keep it simple. So actually mostly Instagram. If you want to message me on Instagram, it's more I mostly talk with people and comment on there. YouTube, Indar Hawaii. And then, we have our podcast, The Hawaii Money Guy as well. And I just loved answering comments on there. I actually really enjoy answering some of the good comments because I like giving back. I think there's abundance in life. There's enough for everyone to have in life. And I'm here to be an open book and share everything I possibly can. It's up to you guys to take the action. And that's the trick. If I can press you guys, I'll tell you 99% how to flip a house. If you don't take that 1% to take the action, it's worthless.
100%. 100%.
So,
Hey,
Indar, Hawaii.
yep, I appreciate that, Indar. So I'm going to make sure we have all those links in our show notes to make it easy for our listeners. You could just copy and paste or click away. Just don't do it while you're driving. Indar, this was a blast, man. Looking forward to getting together again this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. It's great talking to you. Great hanging out and awesome to be on the podcast. Thank you. And all the listeners, thank you guys too.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, also to my listeners, thank you so much for joining me and our special guest, Indar Lange, on the Average Joe Finances podcast. Go leave us a 5-star review and tell us what you liked about today's episode with Indar. Aloha from Hawaii and have a great rest of your day.
Aloha.
Thank you for making it to the end of this episode. Greatly appreciate you being here with me today on the Average Joe Finances podcast. If you haven't done so yet, make this the episode that you go leave us a 5-star rating or subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Average Joe Finances podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Have an outstanding day.